You're still watching Breakfast Daily on City TV. Keep sending us your messages as well. Hashtag Breakfast Daily and send a WhatsApp message to 0550-585832. Yes, it is still October, which means it is still Pink October. It's still Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And throughout the month of October, we've been bringing you intriguing discussions about this deadly disease. But today, we've got another angle for you. Breast reconstruction. So what happens if, unfortunately, somebody goes through breast cancer and ends up losing either part of a breast, the whole breast, or both breasts? Well, there are options for reconstruction. There are options for bringing back at least some semblance of what was there and what was lost, all right? We'll be speaking with Dr. Kwame Darko, who's a consultant plastic surgeon at the Plastic Surgery Center at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. He's going to be educating us today about breast reconstruction options for breast cancer patients. All right. Welcome to the show, Dr. Darko. It's a pleasure to welcome you to Breakfast Daily.
Pleasure to be here.
All right. You've come prepared, yes. And we'll be talking about what's displayed in front of us as we continue our discussion. But just give us an idea of the kind of services that are offered at the Plastic Surgery Center for breast cancer patients.
So for breast cancer patients within the Plastic Surgery Center, we collaborate with the general surgeons and the oncologists. And it's a wide range of services we offer, from just taking out a small area and rearranging the breast to look as if nothing was done, to taking out a considerable part of a breast and once again bringing another body part in to still make the breast look normal, as against taking off an entire breast and using implants or different parts of the body or whatever other means to create a new breast. And the good thing is it can be done at different times. By that I mean it can be done at the time of taking off the breast, the mastectomy, when they're taking off the cancer, or it can be done at a later date. So whether you've about to have it done or whether you've had it done a few years ago, we can still do something about it.
Yes. Okay. So once again, if you have a question, you can send in your questions. Hashtag Breakfast Daily. Our WhatsApp line 0550-585832. We're talking about breast reconstruction options with Dr. Kwame Darko, who is with the Kolebu Plastic Surgery Center. All right. So send in all your questions and hopefully we'll be able to answer them for you while he's here. Okay. So this is great information because a lot of people may think that once you get a diagnosis of breast cancer, you're losing your breast. That's it. You're done. Now you've come to explain to us exactly what all of the options are. Why don't we start with what we have here in front of us so you can explain to us what exactly these are?
So what we have in front of us are different types of silicone breast implants.
Silicone breast implants.
Yes, that's right.
What is silicone?
So silicone is I'll describe it as an inert material that you can use in your body. The reason why we use silicone is because it tends to react in a minimal way. Your body reacts to it in a minimal way, so that we have very little rejection or few issues with it, as against some others where people may be allergic to some of the substances in it and so on and so forth. Silicone, most people tend not to have any issues with it whatsoever. All right,
so this is practically safe to be inserted into someone's body. Okay. But I see you've got different sizes, shapes, colors, and even material.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go around so that you can explain what each of these are. I'll just start here because this one looks the flattest.
This is flattest, yes.
All right, so what is this? Can I pick it up?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
So, I've got this here. It looks very flat. Looks just like a flat disc with a tube protruding out of it. Right. So which one is this, Dr. Darko?
So this is something we call the breast tissue expander.
Breast tissue expander.
Yes.
Okay.
So it is a type of silicone implant, but it's inflatable.
Oh.
Basically what happens is at the time of taking off the breast, we take some amount of skin with it. So you end up with a flat chest. So obviously if we wanted to create a new breast, we need some extra skin to make it look normal.
Right.
We can stretch your own skin to force it to grow and generate more skin. Okay? So in the same way as pregnancy grows over time and the skin stretches, we can do the same over the chest area where the breast used to be.
All right.
So at the time of the mastectomy, that's the time of taking off the breast, we put this flat breast tissue expander in position. All right.
Under the skin.
And we might, at the time of the mastectomy, put a little bit of fluid in it, but most of the expansion occurs later.
Okay.
So we finish the operation, you go home, you come in as an outpatient to the clinic like everybody else. We inject the port. There are different types of ports.
Okay.
A bit of saline through the port,
Alright.
and then it gradually expands the tissue
Over time.
expander. Yes.
So that's what this tube is for.
That's what this tube. There are different types. So this
Okay.
type is what we describe as a remote port, where it's hidden somewhere, we bury it somewhere else. But we have an integrated port, which is on the breast tissue expander itself.
Okay.
We use different ones for different technical reasons.
Okay.
But
Alright.
if you move on to the next one,
Okay.
this is a partially filled
Sorry.
expander.
All right.
Okay, and you can see the port over there. So that would be buried somewhere, and we inject through the skin, and it gradually inflates and
Over
stretches
time.
the skin. All right.
And there's fluid in it.
Exactly.
already. Okay.
This one is an integrated port, so you can see there's something hard on top there.
Yes, this section
Yes.
here.
So then we inject through the skin into that, and gradually push in saline to stretch the skin. So we get adequate skin volume to put in a permanent implant. You realize that part is hard.
Yes.
It's a special type of silicone, resealable, so we can inject through it, and when we take the needle out, it doesn't leak.
I see. The technology is amazing.
And you realize there's a metal disc in that.
Yes, I can see at the bottom here.
At the top, on the other side.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, here.
Okay, that is a
can see.
magnet, and we use a magnet over your skin to find it, so that we know we're pricking the right area and not rupturing the implant.
I see.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so that's three.
That's those three. So after a couple of weeks to months, depending on your condition or your situation, we will later take that out, because it is a mechanical valve.
Okay.
With time, it will begin to leak gradually, and we put in the permanent implants.
All right.
So all these three on this side are permanent
permanent.
implants. They're
Okay,
different shapes and different sizes, because as you know, we have all different types of shapes of breasts.
So these three are, I guess, to prepare the breast, so
the
expanders,
implant.
etc.
That's right.
And then these are the actual implants that will go in to
That's
replace any lost breast or breast tissue.
That's
okay,
right, yes.
got it. All right, so
Okay.
then let's start with the replacements.
Yes, so
the
this is
implants
one of
themselves.
them.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yes.
Now we're getting different feel.
Exactly.
Okay.
This feels much softer, much more natural, and this is a permanent breast implant, silicone
see.
breast implant.
So silicone.
Yes, so it has an outer shell made of silicone and a special formulation of silicone inside as well. Okay, to give you that mushy, natural feel.
Natural kind of feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can squeeze it as hard as you want. Go ahead,
I'm
and you realize it's
it will
not going
not
to
break.
explode. No.
There's nothing.
No,
It won't tear.
no, yes,
nothing.
yes, no.
And I'm really digging in. Literally,
Yes,
I'm
okay.
my the tips of my fingers are going in.
Yes. Okay.
Nothing is happening here.
So this just goes to show that it's highly unlikely to rupture when it's inside you. There is a possibility of that happening, but that might be due to a mechanical or procedural fault during the insertion.
Okay.
But in general, they do not rupture.
Okay.
Okay. But they
is good.
can have problems with them later on.
Later
Okay,
on.
Yes.
About how long can this stay in someone's body?
So the older breast implants, say if you had one done, let's say 10 years ago, you would have probably been told that the lifespan of an implant is about 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
So the current generation of breast implants we have, we've been able to push that to about 20 years. So generally you'll be told that after about 20 years, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, you probably will need to change the implant.
To replace this.
And
okay.
you probably need to change it for different reasons. One of them is it might get a bit deformed because it's been in your body for such a long time.
Okay.
Or generally your body has changed. Now, irrespective of the fact that we've created a new breast for you, you are still growing, you're still aging. The implant doesn't.
Right.
So it may be stuck in a position where after a couple of years, it doesn't look so good anymore,
Okay.
and you may want it changed. Some do, some don't. I think the oldest person we've taken out an implant from, she was in her 70s.
Whoa.
She's had it for about 15, 20 years, yes.
Wow. And she wanted to change it. Okay.
That's right.
All right. Let's take a look at the second implant.
So, like I said, these are all different shapes and sizes of
Right.
silicone implants, basically because we want to get a good match to your natural breast shape.
Okay.
So we'd have to use different ones and decide which is best
Which
for
is
you.
best. Why this one is more? I suppose they're both gel-like,
Yeah.
but this has a smoother,
Smoother, that's
transparent,
right.
and
That's
that
right.
one's a bit more opaque.
That's right.
And has a different kind of feel. What's the difference?
That's right. So it's basically in the shell. Okay. So
Okay.
there's smooth and rough shells, and depending on the technical situation we have to reconstruct your breast, we decide which one to use.
Which one to use?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm squeezing this as well as hard as I can, and it's maintaining its integrity. So, as you said, it's fine. All right, and then we've got the third
bigger
implant.
One. Yes.
All right.
So with implants, we have different base widths, profiles, projections. So these are just three with different shapes.
Okay.
So you realize this is more of a round implant.
Yes, it's bigger than the other two.
Whereas this one is more of a teardrop kind of, much more natural breast looking shape. Okay.
Right.
So like I said, depending on your own or your natural body shape, size, and breast body shape and size, we'll decide which one to use, which is most appropriate for you.
Is every breast cancer patient who undergoes a mastectomy a good candidate for implants?
Well, not every candidate.
Okay.
So it's as we discuss and assess per case. The earlier you come, the more favorable your chances of having some form of breast reconstruction.
Okay.
Obviously, if it's more advanced, we would be a bit more conservative on taking that decision. And it might be a better decision to have a delayed procedure or not to have it at all. So it's a case-by-case basis. But the important thing is to come, have it detected, have it picked up early, come, let's see you, and then we can take a decision on what you want done. Mind you, there are many women who will decide not to have anything done. Okay. And that's one of the things we still do as plastic surgeons, where if you decide not to have a breast reconstruction and we realize your normal breast that's left behind makes you a bit lopsided, we can do a reduction only for that one.
Okay.
So that you can balance out. Okay.
I see.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be the full.
It does not necessarily have to be.
Okay. Now, effects of having implants. Okay. One might ask, can cancer return even if you have a breast implant? Okay. Does having an implant ward off any future, return of cancer, or can it remain permanently in remission?
Okay. So the breast implant itself is not an indicator of you getting recurrence or not. Okay. Whether it was there or not, and you are bound to have a recurrence, you would get it.
Okay.
Okay.
So this would not necessarily cause it to come back. Okay.
What's important is you have regular surveillance after you've had your reconstruction, so that if it does appear, it's picked up quickly, and then further action is taken.
All right.
That's what's important. And this also goes for those who don't have any form of reconstruction, that we continue surveillance. There's always a plan that's given to them to come back every 6 months, 1 year, whatever it is, 2 years, as time goes by, to keep you to just have your checkups and your investigations.
I see. Okay. So before someone makes a choice to go in for an implant, or even as they're going in for a mastectomy, what should they know? What should they go in? What kind of mindset? What information should they have at their fingertips?
So before you go in for a mastectomy, you need to know that if your cancer is picked up early, it is a plan to try and cure you of breast cancer.
Right.
Having your breast taken off is not the end of the story. In Ghana, there are options for all forms of breast reconstruction that you can get anywhere in the world. We're fortunate enough to have a setup in Kolebu where the most advanced form of breast reconstruction that can be done anywhere in the world can be done here in Ghana.
We've got world standard, world class.
We have what it takes to do all these types of breast reconstruction.
Great.
The important thing is coming early, having it detected, making a plan for you that best suits you, and then moving forward.
Okay. All right. So we've got some images here that we're looking at now. Yeah. This looks quite different from what we've seen on the table here, but it also looks like some form of a breast mold or something like that.
So this is called a breast form. So for women who are not interested in having any form of formal reconstruction, but still want to be able to dress up and still have kind of symmetrical bulges in the breast bulges in front of them, these can be put into the bra. Okay. So they're breast forms and they're readily available just to put in your bra to even you out. Obviously, once you take it off, that's the end of the story. But then these are also something that some women prefer.
Okay. That's good to know. An option for, again, people who don't want to undergo surgery. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we have some images here as well. Now, what are we looking at as far as, is this a patient who has had cancer?
Yes. So this is a patient who has cancer somewhere in the right breast. She picked it up very early, so it's not that big. And we're able to do something called a wide local excision. So we cut the cancer out with a bit of normal tissue just to make sure we have a good safety margin to prevent recurrence. Now, when that happens, we are able to remodel the breast
All right.
to make it look as normal as possible. And so you see her on the right pre-op with all our drawings and markings.
Yes.
And you see her on the top left image as having had her procedure done and reorganized a bit of the tissue underneath to make it look as normal as possible. And lastly, you see her with clothes on, and she looks very
Yes.
normal,
So-
as
so
if
in-
nothing's happened.
In this case, there was no implants, nothing needed, just rearranging
Yes,
her
and
own
we
tissue.
call this kind of surgery oncoplastic surgery,
Oncoplastic.
where we remove things around to create a normal looking breast.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
Now,
so
what do we
this
have here?
is one of our surgery pictures of someone getting a breast tissue expander inserted.
Okay, so that's the flat.
That's
this
the flat one. So you realize
Okay.
that the chest looks flat,
Yes.
but we have put the tissue expander in, and that's one of the special magnets we use to
detect
locate the
the-
port and inflate it gradually.
I
So
see.
I think we can move on to the next one.
Okay. Let's see our next image then. And I hope this is great education for people watching. I'm
Okay,
sure
so
it
this is a lady who we've used part of her back muscle to fill in the defect that was created by the removal of the breast cancer. So on her left breast, you can see kind of a patch area,
Yes.
and all that tissue underneath was taken from her back. We have a special way of swinging it round and filling in the defect. So
And
that's
this was
what was
done
done.
here?
All of these are Ghanaian patients, all done in Kolebu.
Fantastic. So this is an option for someone
This
who
is for option
qualifies
for
for
someone
this.
who comes early and we can take it out. This is
Okay.
another option for someone who required a full mastectomy,
Okay.
but then again, she did come a bit early and we're able to, it hadn't touched the skin in any way or form.
Wow.
We were able to remove the breast tissue,
Okay.
leave the skin behind, and use her back muscle and a bit of fat from her back, swing it round and use it to mold a new breast. Now, when we do this, you tend to have an upstanding breast, okay? She requested that her other breast be also molded a bit to look
To
like that
match.
one, which is what we did. So you realize that it looks like a totally different person, but this is the same person who we've remolded one side and reconstructed another.
Wow.
Okay. You may ask, what's that disc on the left side?
Yes.
And that's her skin from her back.
I see.
She hasn't come back yet, but then we use part of that to reconstruct a new nipple,
A new
as and when she requests it or wants it. Okay.
Okay.
This is another example of someone who we used her back muscle to recreate a new breast. You realize that her right breast is very droopy. We can't create a new breast like that. It's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
So we tend to reduce or lift up, do a lift of that breast that's normal to match the other one. Now, the drawings on her back show the skin and part of the muscle that we use to swing round to recreate the new breast. Okay, I think the next picture shows the post-op pictures.
Okay. So this is pre-op.
This is
You-
pre-op,
your
yes,
drawings,
pre-operative
preparation.
before
Okay.
the surgery. And this is after, where we've done a reduction on the right. And that is the new breast with a lot of muscle and fat from the back. Once again, she's yet to have her nipple done. When she does decide, we can always do it because we've created that disc for her already. But most people, once they look symmetrical in a bra, well, when they're dressed up, they're relatively
good to
happy
go.
that they don't really want anything more done.
Now, I would assume these are all patients who the cancer was detected early enough that
Yes,
you could
that's right.
save
That's
most
right.
of the breast. So
That's right.
early detection is so important.
It's key. It's key.
It's key for that.
Yeah.
Okay, which image is this now?
So this is a more advanced form of breast reconstruction where we take your redundant loose tummy,
Yes.
that one that hangs over your belt, and use it to recreate a new breast. So this is a lady who's had something we call a delayed reconstruction.
Okay.
Delayed means she's already had her mastectomy, she's had her chemotherapy if she needed it, she's had her radiotherapy if she needed it, she's a few months to years over breast cancer.
Okay.
And she wants, she may have been using a breast form, one of those things you saw in the first image, and now has decided she wants something much more natural.
Okay.
So we can use the loose tummy that I've drawn an oval at the bottom.
Yes.
And in this one, it's called a tram, so we use part of the muscle. We can do one where we don't touch your muscle at all, and we use a microscope to connect your arteries and veins in that area to get new supply to all the skin and fat from down below. So that these are some of the much more advanced forms of breast reconstruction that you can get anywhere in the world. And fortunately, we're also able to do this for our patients here in Ghana.
Wow. All right, so those were some images that Dr. Darko shared with us on patients that have been treated here in Ghana for breast reconstruction. You know what's interesting about all those images, though? If I recall correctly, there was only one where you showed you had inserted the extender.
Yeah, expander.
But for the rest of them, you use their own tissue to reconstruct their breasts.
Yeah, so the options are available. I mean, there are women who may not have too much, should I call them spare parts, where we can use to reconstruct. So then we will need to fall on implants. But all these options are available. And we'd have a look at you and decide which is most appropriate. But of course, you ultimately make the decision of what you want.
All right. Dr. Darko, how can people get in touch with you?
If they just come to the National Reconstructive Plastic Surgery and Burn Center in Kolebu, they can reach us. If they see the breast surgeons in Kolebu Teaching Hospital at the surgical block, if they go to the the oncologists in Kolebu, radiation oncologists in Kolebu, they can also direct them and yes, okay. And we have breast care nurses also who would help direct.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us this morning.
You're welcome.
Dr. Darko of the Plastic Surgery Center at Kolebu Teaching Hospital, educating us on breast reconstruction options for breast cancer patients here in Ghana.